fast to www.pastorpaulgold.com. Hey, have you taken a good look at the banks lately? On the surface, everything seems fine, but there's a whole lot more going on underneath. It's like looking under the hood of a car and finding a mess of broken wires and parts. The parts are loans for homes, cars, and those credit cards we all use. They're hitting record highs. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Why risk your money for a tiny 5% return when things are so shaky? This is where Noble Gold Investment can come in and help. They're like that friend who knows all about keeping money safe. They suggest gold and silver, oldies but goodies in the finance world. Plus, they got a sweet deal on this right here. 1/4 of an ounce gold standard coin. They'll give this to you for this month. 1/4 of an ounce of gold. Pretty cool, right? Well, if you're curious, just give them a call at 877-646-5347. It's just a chat, no pressure, and they'll help you figure out if gold and silver is right for you. Go visit them at www.pastorpaulgold.com and take the first steps toward a safer financial future.
As many as 50 of the hostages taken by Hamas from Israel on October the 7th could be deceased, a number significantly higher than the 29 deaths publicly acknowledged by Israel. This information, shared with U.S. and Egyptian officials, was presented during hostage negotiations in Cairo in recent weeks, as reported by Egyptian officials. The estimate has been a crucial factor in ongoing negotiations for the release of hostages, both alive and deceased, still being held in Gaza. If the latest Israeli assessment is accurate, approximately 80 of the 132 hostages believed to be held by Hamas or other militant groups are still alive, while militants retain the bodies of dozens of kidnapped individuals. None of the deceased hostages have been returned thus far, the Wall Street Journal reported. The seizure of more than 240 hostages by Hamas militants and others from Gaza during the October 7th assault on southern Israel involving terrorist attacks on a music festival and agricultural communities resulted in 1,200 casualties. This is according to authorities. The number of hostages, both alive and deceased, holds central importance in the talks facilitated by the United States, Egypt, and Qatar. The negotiations involve the potential return of both living and deceased hostages in exchange for the release of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. This issue is also politically sensitive in Israel, where the fate of the hostages has been a focal point in public disclosure. Families of the hostages and others have urged the government to take more action for the captives' freedom, even if it poses challenges to Israel's stance against Hamas. Jennifer Crumbley, the Michigan woman implicated in her son's deadly school shooting rampage back in 2021, was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter on Tuesday in this unprecedented case. The unanimous verdict was delivered on the second day of jury deliberations during this landmark trial, marking Crumbley as the first parent criminally responsible for their child's involvement in a mass shooting. Charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, corresponding to each victim of the attack at Oxford High School in November of 2021, the 45-year-old now faces potential imprisonment of up to 15 years per count. Currently held on bond, she is scheduled for sentencing on April the 9th, NBC News reported. Notably, her son Ethan, age 17, had previously pleaded guilty as an adult to charges including murder and terrorism, receiving a life sentence without parole in December. In a unanimous ruling on Tuesday, a federal appeals court declared that Donald Trump is not shielded from criminal prosecution concerning his attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential election loss. The three-judge appeals panel categorically dismissed Trump's assertion that he was immune to charges in the case due to his status as president during the alleged offenses. Quote, "We cannot accept that the office of the presidency places its former occupants above the law for all time thereafter," said the panel in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. Quote, "For the purpose of this criminal case, former President Trump has become Citizen Trump, with all of the defenses of any other criminal defendant," the panel wrote in a 57-page opinion. Quote, "By any executive immunity that may have protected him while he served as president no longer protects him against this prosecution." The recent ruling marks another significant legal setback for Donald Trump, who is currently the leading candidate for the Republican presidential nomination, CNBC reported. Anticipated to promptly seek Supreme Court intervention to overturn the decision or to request a rehearing of the case by the entire appeals court panel, Trump faces an uphill legal battle. The latest ruling, affirming the decision made by the district court judge handling the case, heightens the likelihood that Trump will face trial before the upcoming November presidential election.